Welcome, everyone. Welcome. We have an exciting topic today. I have a great guest speaker. As you can see, the website up there is robinhoodnoon22.org. The number one secret, yes, on 22 ads don't want California voters to know. Rideshare drivers are already employees, not ICs, which obviously stands for independent contractors. Our guest, Robin Hood, will be discussing why all Uber drivers are already employees and not independent contractors, and why this is so important for the rest of the California voters to know. Yes, I know most rideshare drivers are completely unaware of this, and most of the yes on Prop 22 ads keep inaccurately saying drivers want to continue to be independent contractors. We'll cover exactly why this is a false narrative and why Uber and Lyft and the yes on Prop 22 PR staff insist on repeating this message. Our guest will also explain why he feels all Uber and Lyft drivers are owed millions of dollars, and a vote for no on Prop 22 is the second step towards forcing rideshare companies to pay drivers what they're past due being paid for. I have with me today Mark. I welcome you, Mark. How are you, buddy?
Good, Torsten. How about yourself?
Wonderful. So we're going to dive straight in. We already have a lot of people in the room. Why are you using the pseudonym? Why Robin Hood? And who is the Robin Hood Nation? I'm very curious. When I started reading about this, I'm like, I got to get to know these guys in Orange County. What are they up to? I know that they stand for no on 22, but man, you have got such good info lined up for us in the next 20 plus days. Go ahead and explain a little bit about Robin Hood.
Okay, so Torsten, the two reasons I picked Robin Hood were, one is, even though in this generation they don't know of him very much, it's a story of an outlaw who basically went on the crusade. When he came back to his home, the sheriff of Nottingham took it away from him, so he dedicated his life to stealing from the rich and giving to the poor.
Yeah.
So I picked Robin Hood because this Prop 22 and the rideshare industry have been all about taking from the poor and giving to the rich. So I figured if we could put Robin Hood out there, we could let people know our symbol is we really want to take from the rich and give back to the poor. We're not robbing them. We're not doing anything else. But number one is we're basically saying you guys have basically made yourselves rich off of the backs of drivers.
Absolutely.
And so it's about time we stop that. And the second reason is he's a little bit of an outlaw in our country right now. A lot has to do with who the messenger is instead of the message.
Yes.
And I literally am just like a lot of ex-drivers, but I am an outlaw in the fact that I'm one of the guys who actually has been paid and settled his arbitration, but I had to sign an NDA, so I can't tell people too much about it.
Okay.
But I can say that if you go through the process, it works. There are drivers who have gotten money because we know we're employees.
Exactly. So that I'm very happy to hear that you had a success on that one. And I've heard several other success stories. And I do hope that, Mark, drivers go after what they are owed, right? And not just sit by and get in that car daily, but actually chase the dollars that the company owns them. Well done on that one, by the way. That's fantastic. Now,
and I want to let you know, just so I can add one thing, Torsten. The thing is real important to me is that, a lot of drivers have gone through, let's just say since 2015, it's been like a myth that if you go after it, you only get 10 cents here, or because everything's settled, Uber and Lyft especially, they settled everything out of court and everybody has to sign stuff. Well, the myth out there is that you're only going to get a few cents and everything else. Well, that was probably true in the beginning, but there's several of us out there that know, because we now know the history and what's happening, that, and I'll get towards this at the end, but there are people out there that can't tell you exactly what they've got, but we settled, and we got money on some of us that we're happy with.
I'm very happy to hear that. Now, we've gone over this, but I think it's very important for the subscribers and for the listeners to know, what is your background and why other rideshare drivers and especially the media should listen and believe in what you are telling us today, Mark.
So one of the reasons I'm keeping my identity anonymous is because like I told you about the suit, but the other one is when I started back in 2016, I wanted to make money like a lot of the part-time drivers are, so I joined for that. But I also had in the back of my mind that after seeing what was happening, this was going to be the next big scandal documentary. So I said, I'm going to go in, I'm going to find out from the inside what's going on and just see it. I mean, you really can't know until you either worked for the company or
Yes.
driven for the company. Just because we've taken trips, you don't know. So I literally drove from 2016 until, basically, let's just say 2018-19, without giving the exact date.
2 to 3 years,
So I have a background going into it. I've been a legal liaison. I know about HR employment law, and I basically have specialized over the years in misclassification.
Okay.
So I kind of knew a little bit about it. So I wasn't going as an expert, but I just wanted to go based on what I saw, what was going on. It was just interesting to me, and I could make some money. And then the reason I say people should believe me is I basically have been in there, and I was in the 180 days of change with Uber. I basically had got to know some Lyft employees. I got to know some Lyft drivers. So everything I'm sharing is either from what I've read, what I've been talked to with attorneys, or actually what drivers have seen. And I think when drivers listen, they'll go, oh, yeah, I've kind of experienced that too. I think too many people are talking from outside in. They haven't lived it.
Yeah.
Or if we're just a driver, they invalidate us or they discredit them. So I say, hey, you know what? Some of us have just got a lot of different things like you. You're one of the first videos I watched.
Okay.
And Uberman. And so I just said, hey, look, that's why I think people should listen to what I'm talking about.
Exactly. And the thing is, if you look at the various YouTube channels, right, firstly, these YouTubers are out there obviously sharing good information. But when it comes to this subject, right, this, clearly where you stand, where Robin Hood stands, where I stand on this, and it's no on 22. But a lot of people seem to be rather wishy-washy on this. And I want to bring up a name here. I'm not trashing the guy, absolutely not trolling him. In fact, I think a lot of his videos are great. But, Jay Credeur, who works with Harry Campbell. Harry Campbell told me flat out he is no on 22. So I hope he stands with that, right? But on the channel then, within the rideshare guy channel, you got a guy called Jay Credeur who sued the company, right, for misclassification, hundreds and thousands of dollars. He did a lot of trips. He's got a stellar history of service with them. And then he wants to get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? So he goes after them legally. And then, boom, on the flip side, which I think is extremely hypocritical, right? Sort of like wanting it both ways. He then says, hey, this is why I support Yes on 22. Now, Yes on 22, folks, if that goes through, you can't go chasing after your misclassification dollars. So that really got under my skin, Mark, and I'm sure you followed that with Jay, how those double standards, right?
Yes. So if I could make two comments. One is know that Jay, he came after you guys, but I mean I watched him because a very creative guy, a very bright guy, and a very hardworking guy.
He is.
So I like everything he's done. But yes, when he went and he did his videos and he did his Yes and his defense, he said he was only speaking for him. I'm like you. He has a responsibility as a YouTuber, a guy speaking out there, to basically, he's an influencer whether he wants to be or not. He's almost like Barkley, when Charles Barkley, the NBA player, used to say, I don't want to be a role model. Well, we get your intention was not to be a role model, but the problem is there are people that look up to you. So when Jay basically said that, I wrote some comments to him, and like I said, there's going to be a lot of people with good points on either side. What he should have said was, I literally, for me, am going to be okay in work, even though Yes passes, so I'm okay with it. But if he should have said in the past, in the past, I felt like I was an employee, and that's why I sued.
Right.
In my mind, this effort here, I've been an employee and I thought I was misclassified. That's where I'm going. So again, I think he made a mistake, but I'm not going to fry him for it.
Right.
I just
Okay.
come out
Fair.
and say where he's at. The second thing I want to let you know, I've been asked by other people, is the misclassification, yes on 22, going to stop anybody from getting any money? I say no. Reminds you that yes on 22 means that as of January 1st of next year, all these people that, if it goes through, everybody's a driver will be able to be labeled, even though it's wrong, an independent contractor. And going forward, you won't be able to do anything. But I tell people, even though it makes it tougher for attorneys, that you are an employee now. So you should go, and when you can, go and choose whichever effort you want. And Robin Hood Nation, we're going to help people do that. But you should still go because all of you have been misclassified and basically are owed money. And we'll get into details in a minute.
Cool. And so what motivated you to become so involved in that vote no on Prop 22 with Robin Hood campaign? What is the whole drive there?
So when I was watching all the other great associations, organizations that were doing Vote No on 22, RDU, gig worker driving, there are a lot of people out there, Edward Escobar, these are all people that are hitting the right things. But the problem was their messages aimed at the rideshare industry and the drivers. And we all know when propositions happen in California, they're going to be decided by the majority of average California voters and taxpayers.
Correct.
And all due respect, that anybody that drives or driven, anybody that cares passionately, they don't really care about this. But what people care about is what affects them.
Right.
So I got involved because I have 3 ways to go. I can try to just keep doing interviews and educate everybody else and say, look, you guys have to talk to people and tell them what will affect them. And so I said, we'll focus, Robin Hood Nation, on the fact that what's wrong about this is number one, the obvious. You didn't touch on this. The law is the law. The Uber and Lyft have not been complying with the law since January 1st of this year.
Correct.
Okay, so that means they're not paying unemployment benefits. They're not paying payroll taxes. They're not paying workers' comp. So they basically came up with Prop 22 to go around the law. Now, I think the California voters and taxpayers need to know this is so a business, a tech business, can say, we're too big, we have too much money, we don't have to pay attention to the law. I don't think the organizations are focusing enough on that. They're focusing more, focusing more on we need to represent ourselves, we need higher pay. Well, that's just not with the people I talk to and my friends. They don't really care. They just go, well, you know what? I see these ads where the drivers want this, and it really doesn't affect me. So I'll go, no, you guys have to understand. Uber and Lyft have not been paying payroll taxes or workers' comp or anything for years, and this whole unemployment that just happened, Uber and Lyft didn't pay any money into it. How can we be okay with that as voters and taxpayers? That's why I got involved in it, was to just shed light on different issues.
Yeah, and that's why we have to really connect with California voters to get the message across loud and clear. They shouldn't have to keep on bailing out Uber and Lyft again and again and again, because that's essentially what they're doing, right?
Yeah, and so what I can tell you, so Torsten, I don't want to get too much to reach here, but when everybody votes, everyone either has a sample ballot at home or they're going to vote. And when they look up Prop 22, California Attorney General Becerra did he fought this to have this exact wording. So when someone votes, the wording says exempts app-based transportation delivery companies from providing employee benefits to certain drivers. That's what they're voting on. Voting to say, you guys don't have to give employee benefits to certain drivers, right? And if you just take it as that, people should go, well, that just doesn't seem right?
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Yes on 22 has been putting that independent contractor language in there in quotes because they know it's a false narrative.
Correct.
So when people go in, if they just read it, there's no money effect to them. And if you look down, it goes minor increase in state income taxes paid by rideshare and delivery companies. But what they don't put in there is that, you know what? There is billions of dollars that have not been paid since 2013 or 15, whichever years you want to go, by them in any of their share taxes. And if Becerra does a good job because he sued them, they'll eventually get them back. But why should voters say it's okay for them?
Exactly. And so, Mark, tell me more about why you think rideshare drivers are already employees. That really needs to be, the record really needs to be set straight on that.
Okay, so I'm going to talk as much as I can, and let's just say what we read, okay? So this is full knowledge that everybody knows out there that's ever read anything in rideshare. So in 2015, there was a landmark case. Barbara Ann Berwick was an Uber driver in Ventura, okay? And she went to the Department of Labor and said, you know what? I feel I should have got my expenses paid for because I felt like they were treating me like an employee. She won the case with the Department of Labor in 2015. The LA Times talked about it. I gave you links, and at some point you can get more into it later.
I can put those links for the...
Basically, she won the case, right? But because of all the attorneys and everything else, they kept appealing this and that. So when the settlement comes out, there's an NDA. She could never say either way. But the reason I tell you that is it was a win. It was clear as day. And what I tell people in the law industry, there's a term called willful misclassification. Anytime you do something intentionally or willful, there are extra penalties to it. So the reason I'm telling you that is since 2015, Uber and Lyft knew what they were doing was wrong because they had a judgment against them. They just paid lawyers and then they settled out of court. Okay.
Correct, yeah.
So now let's fast forward to 2018 in April when the Dynamics decision came. The California Supreme Court, that's the highest court on employer law in California, ruled that these truck drivers and these other independent contractors, which if you look at it, also applies to rideshare drivers, you are employees. As of that date, anybody who filed arbitration or lawsuit, that's the precedent.
Right. Okay,
that's April of 2018, not done. And then later in 2019, it went to appeal, and they had to say, well, is it retroactive or is it just forward? It was ruled it's retroactive. Any driver who files has been an employee since, I would say, 2015.
Correct.
And then the final straw is, so in California, you can either do law through the courts, or you can go through legislation, which is you got to go through the state assembly, the state senate, and the governor has to sign on. In 2019, Governor Newsom signed a law, AB 5, that says, it codified what the Supreme Court did, that all these people are employees and that they should all go. He signed it. It became effective January 1st, 2020. So every rideshare driver is an employee. Now, here's the trick. Uber and Lyft and all the other gig companies, they have their own right as a business to challenge it, to not accept it. Okay? Yeah. So they have. But by law, everybody who's driving now is an employee. And the part that people forget is full-time benefits only come, based on 30 or 32 hours, right? Yeah. So all the people that are part-time, they wouldn't get benefits.
Nothing at all. Exactly. And that's the majority of them.
Yeah, so what I'm saying here is, I'll just review again. 2015, this is an inside information. The Department of Labor ruled against Uber. A lady won, but she didn't get paid in court. They went to settlement. Then in 2018 was the California Supreme Court. And then basically, this new law. Then there was the reason Uber and Lyft, a lot of drivers know this, threatened to leave is because courts appealed it, and they said, you have to give us a plan or you're have to say employees. They threatened to leave, and then they got that stay at the last minute.
Correct.
Now, yes, they're in operation. People have to know the difference. They're in operation, but they're illegally in operation.
Right.
That's why the Sarah filed lawsuit against them. So I always tell people, the secret to everything you're reading is, everybody who says we want to continue to be independent contractors, we want to be independent contractors. You are not independent contractors by law in California.
Exactly. And so why is exposing the yes on 22 secret so important? Why do you think yes on 22 is saying 4-1? Right? They always say 4-1, 4-1. Drivers want to stay independent contractors, right?
Right. So here's part of the narrative has been successful at. You and I have talked separately, and I believe there should be a way for there to be independent contractors like any other business, right?
Correct.
But the way for there to be independent contractors, you have to have your business. So I always refer to our rideshare business as basically mobile hospitality, except we're providing everything when we were driving, right? So when you go into a restaurant, you have your waitresses, your bartenders, you have everybody who's there, but they're in a restaurant. When we're taking people on these trips, which are premium trips, right, we're basically supplying everything, right? So basically when we were doing that, we were the same as hospitality. And what I'm saying is, so you can have independent contractors. You need people to come in to help you, great. But they got to be licensed. They got to basically, and then they have to be able to decide what they're going to charge you, and they're going to get to perform the work the way they want. So I think all of us have been a rideshare driver for probably anybody over 2 years. We all got those things like in Orange County Disneyland where we actually got contracted to help someone else out, a shuttle or someone that couldn't do it, right?
Yep.
That should be available for independent contractors. There's a way for independent contractors. If no on 22, if it's defeated, people like you and other people then can go to California and say, we think that if we're licensed and we're insured and we do this, we should be able to be independent contractors. And because of technology, they'll contract you through the app.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with that, right?
Exactly.
So the last thing on independent contractors I want to tell you is I think this has been the weakness of the No on 22, our campaign fighting back, is we haven't been able to tell people, if you're voting no, it doesn't mean you can't be independent contractors. It doesn't mean you can't be part-timers, okay? It means that we have to do more fighting later because Uber and Lyft are they have their own models they're going to come back with. Exactly. But we have to do more fighting. The problem is people aren't saying that enough versus if you say yes here, they have a 7-to-1 ratio for the state legislature to ever overturn it. All these drivers will be independent contractors forever, and you won't know what comes up in the future, right?
Yeah.
So when we're saying no on 22, we all should have been shouting very loudly that the independent contractors should all be voting no. Anybody that wants flexibility in being an independent contractor should be voting no, right? Yeah. And then because if you're an employee and you work 30 plus hours, you get all the benefits.
Exactly. And people really need to, only thing I can say is, turn to social media and scream from the mountaintops, right? Good. Interacting with riders in the car, putting bumper stickers on your car, all of that helps, visible. But the most powerful platforms here, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, whatever, just use them, right? Get the word out. Now, I had a final question. So what's the Robin Hood Nation plan, right? What would be your vision for the No on 22 campaign? Because I really love the logo, the message, the group. You got a powerful platform that you've created there, good talking points. What is the plan? What is the Robin Hood plan?
So our plan is to basically do three things. One is we want to support the efforts already out there, like some of the other people that are drivers are involved in the RDU. Some of the other drivers are basically just going out sending the message that all the other guys have done, right? So we're trying to support all them, but basically give them more messaging and information so they'll maybe do a little bit more of talking to voters and taxpayers that don't do rideshare, that don't have relatives, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So I'm just trying to, so by putting up a website, coming on your show, I'd even offer to be on media and stuff and just say, look, I have one thing that's different than most people. I've collected money, so I can basically tell people, yes, I'm one of the guys that say there is guilt by settlement. That's my personal opinion, okay? When companies, like remember the Me Too movement and all these things, they brought up all over these settlements with NDA. Those guys were not 100% clean because they did settlements, right?
Right.
So if Uber and Lyft have been doing settlements all this time and they've actually been settling with people, then maybe there's something to the fact that they've been misclassifying. So basically, number one is we want to get that message out to other people. I've been, and my other guys have been, okay, we're going to do interviews because there has to be something fresh out there. All the media wants to do is just go, you know what, what's in it for us? We can't say the same message. So number one is, spin a little different and tell the other campaigns. Number two is we want to start enough of a message out there and then basically help drivers, basically sign up so we can help them file their arbitration, file for their lost wages, whatever, for those of us that have already done it.
Okay.
Because that part's not over. In my mind, all these companies owe billions of dollars, and in the past, they've been fined by the FTC, they've been fined by this guy. Well, none of the drivers are getting any of that stinking money.
They're not seeing the money, exactly.
The drivers only get money when, like you said, Jay Cradger, and I know plenty of other drivers that filed and stuff, they're all waiting. Well, guess what's going to help that a lot? No on 22. You get
Yes.
no on 22, all these things are going to get settled very quickly.
Exactly.
Because there's no other opportunity for them to get around it. My last one is I wanted to do a little bit of fun to tell people, like, what would be the, big, hairy, audacious goal for us would be everybody out there would end up basically on the weekend before the election in person. Everybody would be out there like the Women's March after Trump got elected. There was no violence. There was no protest. All of us that were drivers at the time, right?
Yeah, it was a great day.
Hundreds of thousands of people. So just bring that to California.
Yeah.
We would have enough momentum that the weekend before the election, all the drivers, not these actors on the commercials, were at Sacramento and at all the hubs in the major cities and the offices, and just showed up that Halloween weekend and didn't go to airports and anything else and go, we're the real ones that are getting affected here.
Yeah.
And if everybody showed up, and can't be a planned rally because of COVID, it can't, you can't be, but everybody just showed up and said, look at us. We're the people you guys are voting that we don't deserve benefits. You guys, we're the ones that you're saying don't matter to you. The court said we're employees. The state said we're employees. Uber and Lyft, they changed the benefits only because of the law, Torsten, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So that would be the greatest thing, and no one needs credit. We just need to say how many drivers the last weekend of October. That's why we started this countdown, like a 22-day countdown. We had Brad on with you yesterday. That's day 22 to the election. Today is day 21. If everybody started going, there's a great caravan tomorrow. One of our people's on it.
Yes.
Keep getting it. But what the voters need to know, all the people that have it mailed in their ballot, is when they go to the ballot, what's the visual they need? What is it? And if they saw tons of drivers and their family all showing up at these places and going, we know we're employees, pay us like employees.
Exactly.
And basically, we help build your business. We need no on 22. I think a lot of people would be swayed. The people I talk to that find out Uber and Lyft haven't paid payroll taxes and haven't paid workers' comp and all this other crap, they go, that's wrong. I go, I know,
right.
That's wrong. And then I want to leave you one last thing. I know I'm taking up a bunch of your time.
No. Go ahead, please.
But all these part-timers come up with a legitimate opinion. It's a legitimate position. They say, look, this is our second job. We don't need the insurance. This is perfect for us. We can't afford to be scheduled like full-time employees. It'll ruin it for me. They have to just know two things. One, Ease.com is a service that delivers cannabis in California once it's been legal. It's an employee job. And all you have to do is sign up for 4 hours, okay? Anybody that works part-time for Uber or Lyft that isn't doing 4 hours, you're kidding yourself, right? Because we didn't know the destination, until recently, right? They used to trick us. A lot of people that never know Uber and Lyft, they're shocked when they find out. You picked me up over here in San Clemente and didn't know I was going to LAX? No. You picked me up here after a bar and didn't know I was going there with no right back? No. So anybody who does Uber or Lyft tours, you train lots of drivers.
Yeah.
No one goes on for less than a 4-hour shift that wants to make money, right?
Right. Exactly.
So Ease.com, it's done. It's here in California. Someone's doing it part-time. And the second one is, this is my favorite. It just says a little bit about you. If you've got a full-time job and you're doing Uber and Lyft on the side and it's part-time. What happened is your full-time job, your company turns in and they come up with a mobile app and say, by the way, now we have part-timers, so we don't need to pay you benefits. What? Yeah, because we got plenty of people that want to be part-timers. So the part-timers, we polled all the part-timers, and 4-1, all the part-timers, they want to be what we call, quote-unquote, independent contractors. They don't care about the benefits.
Right.
So you guys that really are employees and deserve benefits, we're taking them away because there was a vote. Yeah. It's not because of the law. It's not because there's a state out there. It's because the part-timers who don't get benefits anyway are going to take it away from the people that deserve it.
Exactly.
It's just wrong.
Yeah.
I love that argument. I tell people that all the time. I go, don't you think you're being a little hypocritical or selfish if you're not okay to give up your benefits when you're a full-time employee?
Yeah, I push back on that all. I get those type of messages all day long throughout my channels. And then, that's just a very easy comeback line. And, because it's like they're sort of, messing it up for the other group and then sort of wanted the best of both worlds, right? So it's easy to counter that argument, but it's from their side, it's a very, very selfish thinking,
And Torsten, one of the agreements we made when you first started, when you accepted to support us, right? And you actually did a good job. We are basing things on things that have already been said, already been ruled on, already, you know what I mean? We don't go out there and say, hey, you know what, there's this thing we heard is going to happen. No, as you can tell, part of our Robin Hood 22-day countdown with you is we're going to talk about what's actually on the ballot, what court decisions have been made, things that other people said. The logo that Brad used yesterday, he forgot to tell, but that's when the break came from Gig Workers Rising. We're not trying to steal anything. We're not trying to do it. We're just trying to share information.
Share info,
Yeah, and then so what we tried to say is, when you hear from us, me and we have a driver who's going to call you tomorrow from the Caravan.
Yeah.
Take part of that.
Cool.
Some of the attorneys that we know are going to come on your show Friday. So what we're trying to do is say, hey, let's just share what's out there with other people, and let's break and implode and expose these false narratives that all these other people don't. And you notice I don't attack or basically say negative about the food delivery services, because you and I have driven, most of these other guys have driven. I think there's a way for the food delivery to be different, but the risk we all took driving, we had people in our cars. There was a risk for us, the deactivation, being robbed. Everybody has stories. A rideshare driver is, look at workers' comp X-Marks. It's a risky job. So yes and no on 22 is a big issue, because I say rideshare drivers need to be employees.
Exactly.
We're not, you know what I mean? So, sorry.
No, it's good. It's good. I like it. And the cool thing is, we have, how many weeks do we have left? It's not too long. Firstly, I love the idea of really rallying around Halloween weekend. We got to get the people out there. But I mean, you have a lot of great topics to come over the next 2 weeks. You have this platform. I support you 100%. And we're going to basically share, educate. That's what we're here for, right?
And then we listen to the other side. I always tell people, whether yes or no, right now we can't help it because of bigger politics, Trump and MAGA versus the Democrats, and then we have COVID, masks versus no masks. We've all now gone through a tough time where everything's black and white. We have to remember, people that are voting yes on 22, all I do is ask, okay, why? Okay, great. Are you at least empathetic to why people are saying no? I say the same thing to people. No, you're at least empathetic to why people are saying yes. Have a conversation, because all you and I have in common right now, Torsten, besides having both driven, is we want people to vote no for basically everything we know, we've experienced, and we know, right?
Exactly.
So we just keep promoting it and campaigning. That's our job, is keep campaigning. And I already know in my non-family group, I don't count family members, right? But I'm in the 50s to 60s of people that have changed. I'd love to have each one of us be in the hundreds, right?
Yeah.
But I think each one of us, if we're changing, it's going to make a difference. And the only thing I'll say from you and Brad yesterday, two things. One is, don't believe any poll that tells you no is winning. It isn't.
Right.
I mean, all you have to do is go ask 10 people that aren't rideshare drivers, right? Go ask 10 people. And almost everybody you talk to that, that hasn't been, aware of it, 6 out of 10 are saying, I saw the commercials. I'm going to vote yes.
Yeah.
So
those commercials are, and I mean, we have to break down those commercials, because those commercials are really dangerous. I mean, they're running day and night and just, littering the TV waves with false messages. And, sadly, that is, and I get a lot of people through my Facebook and friends, and they say, hey, I saw this TV ad. Which way should I vote? And you actually have to take the time to educate them. Okay. Because they've seen the ad and they know that there's a lot of money behind this. There's $200 million behind it. So they know that someone out there, Uber and Lyft, wants to buy their vote. So they are a bit skeptical. You just have to take that little extra time to educate these people, and then say, hey, listen, share that with your friends as well, right? So what I'm telling you right now, go out there and share that with 10 more friends, and let them share that with 10 other friends, right? But I've heard... And
this is precedent setting for the whole country. So you and I have talked about it before. There are some very good, hardworking, successful Uber tubers out there that aren't from California. Some of them have been about yet. They don't understand it because they're not here. Yeah. This is going to have effects on all the other states. If Uber wins here, us and Massachusetts are two of the most liberal states that's been shown by how the courts have been ruling, right? If we can't stop them from labeling people independent contractors here, they're going to go across the nation.
They're going to steamroll. They're going to steamroll everyone, and then everyone's going to be enjoying that 30 cents BS and the silly offer that they've put forward. You're not making money under that. You think you have all the flexibility and the freedom in the world, but if you look at what you're being paid, if you look at what health benefits, you're not getting anything. You're going backwards. You're going way, way backwards. And that's what people need to realize, is that you're not going to make money. You're not going to make money with yes on 22, period. I'll have that argument with anyone, any day, any hour, any minute. that you will not be making money with Yes on 22, period.
And a reminder, Torsten, every time you talk to them, when they talk about the multipliers, they're talking about these benefits being shared. That's because of Law AB5.
Thank you.
Came effect in January.
Thank you.
None
Thank
of
you.
this stuff would have been happening
Nothing.
if legislation didn't happen.
Yeah.
They're just doing it temporarily because they have to. Once they get this bill, they don't have to do that stuff anymore. They can do some semblance of it.
You know, and so AB5 kicks in, you and I know, January the 1st, 2020. They counter that. They counter the argument, try to make a legal argument. Well, look, they can choose and deny their trips. They have the ability to set the multiplier, right? All of this was only brought about, as Mark correctly said, because of AB5. It's a counter legal argument to AB5. Hey, they are independent. Look, we have this in place. They don't have that in place for the other 49 states. They don't have that in place for Albuquerque, Miami, Denver, Colorado, Houston, Texas. No, they just put this thing in place, modified the app to counter AB5. Now, here's another thing. I get drivers say, well, I'm making good money at the moment. Sure, you're making good money if you get a 3x on your multiplier on a Saturday night because you said it's someone who took it. So you're making above average right now. But guess what? Come November, do you think that they are going to keep the multiplier? Hell no. And again, I have this from insiders as well, from staff at Uber who don't want to be mentioned, is that the multiplier is gone. It's null and void if they get the Yes on 22. Why should they offer the multiplier and the destination, show the destination if they get it their way, which is Yes on 22? So, you know, like I say to those guys who want to vote Yes on 22, they're so rigid, we can't change their minds. They believe they're going to make the same type of money. I say enjoy it till November or January, because it's the only time period now you're going to make a little bit of money. Come January or come November, those days are over, my friend, right? You're not
once the COVID, you can go either way, whether you think the riders are going to come back after COVID, but once it does, if Yes on 22 wins, we're going to go back to what everybody hated.
Correct.
The flood of having way too many drivers out there. There's going to be no multiplier. If a rider they're just going to keep canceling till they get the lowest guy. Some newbie who's out there that says, I'll go ahead and take the ride.
I'll do it. Yeah.
Multiplier.
Exactly. And right now, I mean, what would you say in a percentage? Maybe 30, 35% of the drivers are back in the field, if that?
I think, from what I hear of the people I know, it's like 10% of the drivers are out there. Remember, most of the drivers that are out there now, they're full-timers. Right. And then there was a scare of COVID. Let's not even get that off Uber and Lyft, how they didn't take responsibility in March of making sure that every driver had masks and every driver and all the riders had masks. If they were employers, they would have been liable for everybody that got sick, right? But because they weren't, they went ahead and they didn't care. And I know it's dramatic. I want to blame them for the deaths, but I'm saying everybody who picked up people in New York and other places where there was, the outbreaks, it was all just Russian roulette when you got someone in your car because the government wasn't even acknowledging that it was aerosol air transmission. Some of us knew, but the companies, the greatest tech companies, here's the last thing I'll do, just on the side. When we in California knew that the COVID was serious was when South by Southwest got canceled by the tech company.
Right.
When Twitter and Google and those guys said, we're not having office people come to our places. That was the March 12th date, remember?
Yes.
All the tech companies knew. You think Uber and Lyft didn't know when they lived in Silicon Valley?
Oh, they knew it. They knew it. They knew it, and they allowed pool trips to continue for a long, long time.
And because they didn't have the liability at that point. If they knew that's what all the other people were, the tech company, and they're a public tech company, so they have to disclose everything, they would have made sure that people had masks and everything else. But because they did, and who knows how many people got sick. And I tell people, the part of death is horrible, and I feel bad for Envy's died. The secondary thing is hospitalization costs that most people living that can't afford a $400 check, right?
Exactly.
You go to the hospital, it's going to cost you $10. So what happened? Most of the people didn't go.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, sorry, I don't want to go. That's a whole other topic, another day.
Good. So we're gonna meet up again here tomorrow. Pretty much same time, maybe give or take 30 minutes later, earlier. We'll talk about that. We'll come up with the next great topic. I thank Mark from Robinhood. Go and visit the website, robinhoodknown22.org. It's all there. Fantastic site, very well laid out, right? And I appreciate the time. Thank you for those great 40 minutes, Mark. And then we will reconvene tomorrow, right? We're going to have a driver on the show, correct?
Yeah, we're going to have different people all the time. I got Thursday and Friday booked, but I got to figure out which driver's coming on tomorrow. But awesome. Thank you. And like I said, appreciate for all of us. We're all together on this just from different angles. That's the way I look at it.
100%. I appreciate your time, buddy. Have a good one. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you. So I want to give the people a shout out that are in the room right now. Let's go to their website briefly. This is their website, Vote No on Prop 22, if you want to visit that. Wicked Hustle Guy is in the house. Brad Codd, welcome, Brad Codd. He says, hey, Wicked Hustle Guy, can you share some of the links for the other YouTubers? Jimmy's in the house. Brad says, please share. I'd like to go on their shows and help them with the reasons why voting no on Prop 22 is the right choice for both drivers and riders. We have Dak Rom in the house. Rick Nelson is on his way back to California. He is at Aquila Flats, New Mexico. So you, buddy, how far are you? About halfway, right? You're about halfway. Listening, tuning in to YouTube while you're driving down those highways from Texas to California. Drive safe, my friend. Drive safe. Don't pick up any hitchhikers. All right. So cool. We'll be back tomorrow. I do want to give a shout out to my 3 sponsors, right, that support my channels. You know, these are companies that I endorse, that I believe in, that I believe that every rideshare driver, gig worker should have access to if the SHIT hits the fan. Hopefully it never does. But the first is Cover, Kover. These are the gig companies that they've hooked up with. It starts at $7 per month. By the way, that's 1 extra trip per month, and this plan is paid for. You have your auto insurance, you have your health insurance, your medical insurance, and then you go out and get yourself a gig protection plan. Now, these guys have teamed up with LegalRideshare, right? If you do get deactivated, I've got a great video coming out today on that about deactivation. LegalRideshare kicks in and sends out a letter on behalf of you, on behalf of the wrongfully terminated individual. He or she has legal representation. So that's the cool hookup between Kover and LegalRideshare. Obviously, Kover, if you end up in the hospital, your car ends up in the shop, they kick in and cover 80% of your lost earnings. But LegalRideshare, if you get injured, let's say someone slams into your side, you break a leg, you break an arm, God forbid, paralyzed, whatever it is, boom, the company goes after that individual. So if you have been injured, if your car has been damaged or totaled, right, they kick in and represent you in the very best way, legalrideshare.com. Then I do want to give one last shout out to my friends in Australia that are working hard to help gig workers, frontline workers sort out plan B, plan C, because there will come a day when you look at your numbers and say, wow, I just cannot survive on these numbers, right? Especially for Californians, if yes on 22 passes, you're not going to be making money. Many people will be actually looking for other jobs, right? So you get to upload all of your details. It's called HeyFlip, HeyFlyp. You may have seen me make other videos about this. You get to upload through Facebook your ratings, your trips. You can customize a video. Go out there, put that out into the universe for employers, for other people to see who you are. They love people that come from this industry because they know you are working for those 5-star ratings. They know that you understand service. right? And then they hire very, very quickly. So another shout out to Hey Flip, right? And then again, thanks to Mark from Robin Hood. We'll have him on again tomorrow. We've got Lorenzo Davis in the house. Lorenzo says, Cova has not sent me my card yet. They promised to send you a card? Okay, I can follow up with that. I can speak to some of the seniors there. Wicked Hustle Guy says, Brad Cod, knowing it is a ride share and a hub tells you all you need to know. Don Whitmer says, what will happen with fair multiplier with no on 22? Don, I've heard it personally. I'm not allowed to mention the gentleman's name, but I've heard it personally. I've had several people on the inside of Uber and Lyft contact me, right? Because they do contact some of the influencers because they know they can get the word across or they can hand out information. And that is the multiplier, adios muchachos, goodbye, right? It's gone. No, with no on 22, they have to keep that. Let me be clear. With yes on 22, multiplier is gone. With no on 22, they have to follow the law if they want to treat you as an independent contractor, and that is have to be able to set your own rates and act independently. So the chances of keeping the multiplier on no on 22 are so much greater than yes on 22, right? And this is directly from a source on the inside. Brad says the Rideshare Hub is the actual name of the show. Got it. Thank you. Okay, cool. Oh yeah, there's a YouTuber called Rideshare Hub, young guy, usually circulates most of the stories that myself, Dustin, circulates the talking points. If anybody comes up with a talking point, you can bet your bottom dollar Rideshare Hub will duplicate it. Sometimes word for word. Sometimes he even steals the titles, cut and paste. But okay, that's how he's built his audience, has a very, very young audience. Repeats the same videos over and over again. I'd love to hear where Rideshare Hub stands on this proposition. I believe he made a video and said vote yes on 22. And he may have his sympathizers, right? But can he back it up? Can he actually back it up? Wicked Hustle Guy says yes, he's on Prop 22, right? And I think he's going that direction because he doesn't want to alienate any drivers. But you know, I've watched one or two of Rideshare Hub's videos, yes on 22. He is unable to make the convincing, like as if an attorney stood before a judge and has to make his case. Rideshare Hub has not made his case to me. He's just verbatim feeding the same baby food that Uber and Lyft are to the drivers, right? He's just taking those talking points, repeating them, taking those points, repeating them. But to not have your own opinion, to not have your own research, go out there on Google, whatever it is, you know, Rideshare Hub says, IQ Boy says, Rideshare Hub is a retard, my personal opinion. That's your personal opinion. I think he has hustled very hard to get his subscribers. And he, in the beginning to get there, he uses all of our keywords. So he uses Dustin's keywords. He uses Dustin's name, my name, Simple Driver's name, Uberman's name. He basically has all of those keywords in his descriptions, in his tags, to basically try and take our traffic. And then what I don't like about him, he is not a out-of-the-box type of individual that comes up with his own opinions or stories. It's more cut and paste, cut and paste, cut and paste. How do I get there? Well, I go and use Dustin is driving's keyword. I use the Rideshare Professor keyword. You can see in his channel, he uses all of those names to try and accumulate traffic. If you put in Dustin is driving as a keyword on YouTube or Google, you will quickly see that Rideshare Hub intervenes, right? It's sort of like you could bring it up to YouTube and that they do intervene, right? But as far as the legalities go, you can do it. It's just a very, very slimy, sneaky way, and it's not really liked in the YouTube world. So, but again, that's how he built his audience, by diverting traffic, and that's all I have to say on that. Do I think that the channel brings value? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And the guy's written to me countless times, even tried to duplicate my course, my rideshare driving course, by signing up there. I asked him, what are your intentions? Why are you signing up under my course if you know everything, right? Apparently you know everything. Apparently you're a YouTuber. Why are you signing up under my course? Well, it's very easy to get the talking points, to get the info, to duplicate it, to resell it. Pretty much like how some foreign countries, steal and just pirate our videos, our DVDs, our CDs, and then resell them, right, at a far, far cheaper price. That's sort of what I mean, Jimmy says Rideshare Hub is a plagiarist. You're not a wicked hustle guy. You are not a complete idiot. You are absolutely not. You bring tremendous value. Oh, wow. My wonderful, sweet wife. Do you want to say hi?
Hi.
Come say hi.
No,
she doesn't. But she just made me an awesome lunch. She's a darling. She's been making me breakfast, lunch, dinner. I can't wait to have my cast off, and then I can take her out for dinner. Right? We got to go to some cool. We want to go to Mastro's, to Fleming's. We really want to go and party it up, her and I. Once I get this freaking cast off. I mean, I bet she's going to be so happy dancing. She's going to be dancing when I get this freaking cast off. And by the way, I got the Black Mamba cast. Waving at you guys there. There it is. Glad to have movement, so my toes say hello. And we're on the road to recovery, baby. And again, thank you, Mark, at Robinhood. Appreciate you. I just wanted to let the people know in the channel that I've read your messages. I've given you shout outs. And we're going to be back tomorrow, at least, with Robinhood again. And I'll probably fit in another live feed with one of my talking points. And I've got a lot of other good videos lined up for the next few days. Thank you, and thank you. Yeah, when the guy said, hey, what color cast did you want? He said, well, I got blue, I got pink, I got white. And I said, you have Black Mamba, the black one, because the Lakers are playing today. And he said, absolutely, let's do the black one. And he had some of the black fiberglass, which is nice. It's much, much lighter. And Danu, my sweet little daughter, I have 2 sets of crutches. We are going to be doing some crutch battles later. She's got 4 crutches, so she's been training on my other crutches while I use the arm, the sort of the elbow crutches, and we're going to engage in some epic Star Wars battles later on. I promised her that we're going to be the clash of the Titans. Expert's choice. We are live, or are we alive? We're both. We're live and alive. Good to have you here. Cool. Awesome. And Wicked Hustle Guy says the black cast goes with anything. It goes with anything. You can mix and match it with any of your clothing, right? It's sort of a cool universal color. It's my favorite clothing color, actually, is blue and black. I like to dress up all black sometimes. Black jacket, black shirt, black pants, black belt, black shoes, all black. It's my favorite color when it comes to clothing. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you. Got a lot of cool emojis there. And again, that's the website. Thanking Mark from robinhoodnoon22.org. Go check them out. Thank you to my sponsors, LegalRideshare, Cova, and HeyFlip. I appreciate you all. You guys, stay safe. Remember, always wear your masks. Never forget to disinfect your car. Sherelle's in the house with a ton of hearts. Appreciate you, Sherelle. I can't wait to get down to Long Beach to hook up with Ruben, check out my car. Exciting times ahead. And we're going to get to 2021 together. We're going to get through this pandemic together. And my wonderful wife, Laura, is going to get through the next 3 weeks with me on a cast. Woohoo! Woohoo! Appreciate you all. Be well. Thank you. And thank you so much to Scott Tucker. Scott Tucker, hit me up if you want that I've set it aside for you, that rideshare barrier, right? It's 99. Because it's you, I said I'll give it to you for $50. It's a good deal. Just email me, please, if you want it. Otherwise, I'm going to be selling it this week. It's the last one that I have. I put it aside for you. If you don't want it, it's okay. I'll sell it very, very quickly. They go fast, especially if you discount them. And be well, Scott. Thanks for being in the stream and giving me extra hours over there. Much appreciated, my friend.